Hello my dear friends, welcome to the channel Fly with Physics and myself Adira. So today we are going to travel through the world of electric field. Yeah, in this class we are going to study about electric field, what are electric field lines, properties of electric field lines and some problems related to it. And I have already provided the assignment 1 related to Coulomb's law in the Telegram. If you haven't seen it, if you haven't joined the Telegram group, I have provided the link in the description box. So please check it out, join the group and do as much numericals as you can if you are preparing for NEET and JEE exams. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you will get more classes like this. So let's get into the class. Electric fields. The concept of field was first introduced by Michael Faraday. So Michael Faraday was the one who first introduced electric field. But the question is, why did we need this electric field? For what reason did they introduce electric field in electrostatics? So in last class I have already told you, according to Coulomb's law, we have studied that when two charges are kept in a distance of r, these two charges experience a force, right? But have you ever wondered what is the reason for this force? You could see that these two charges are not touching with each other. So what produces a force here? Why is this charge experience a force due to this capital Q? So to explain this concept, electric fields was introduced. Electrostatic force act between two charged bodies even without any direct contact with them. Yeah, you could tell that the concept of electric field was introduced to explain this electrostatic force. So in a simple word, you could tell that the region around a charged body in which other charged body experience an electrostatic force is called electric field. So consider this charge capital Q. When I bring a small q charge near to it, this small q experience a force due to this capital Q. So there is a region around this capital Q where this charge can experience a force, and this region is called electric field. Okay, the region around a charged body, here charged body is our capital Q, in which other charged body, another charged body is my small q, experience a electrostatic force. So this is known as electric field. Okay, before getting into the definition, let's consider a charge capital Q and let's take a random point near to this charge. So if I take a point here and this is my point P, okay. Now I need to find the electric field at this point P due to this charge Q. So how can we find the electric field because of this charge Q at this point? We can find it by bringing a unit positive charge to this point. Whichever point you need to find the electric field, amount of electric field, you can bring a unit positive charge to that point. So I brought, this is my point and I want to find electric field at this point. So I brought a unit positive charge to this point. Okay. Now, if I brought a unit positive charge to this point, what will happen? There is a electric field around this charge Q, right? So due to the electric field produced by this charge capital Q, a force is experienced by our unit positive charge at this point. So the amount of force experienced by this unit positive charge at this point gives how much electric field is present here due to our charge capital Q. So that is given in this definition. Electric field due to the charge Q at a point in space may be defined as the force that a unit positive charge experience if placed at that point. If I place a unit positive charge at this point, the force experienced by this unit positive charge gives the electric field at this point due to our charge capital Q. And this capital Q charge is source charge which produces electric field, and our unit positive charge is our test charge which tests the effect of source charge. Now a question would arise in your mind. Since this is a unit positive charge, this charge also should produce an electric field, right? But the answer is no. Because we are considering this unit positive charge as so negligible that it is not capable of producing electric field itself. So Q is taken as negligibly small that it cannot produce electric field by itself. And electric field is a vector quantity, that means it has both magnitude and direction. Now let's look. If I bring this unit positive charge somewhere near to our source charge, means I am considering a point here and I am bringing this unit positive charge here, okay. Now what happens? The electric field produced by this Q at this point will be greater, right? Because as we move near to our source charge, the force experienced by our test charge due to the electric field produced by our source charge increases. So we could say that E is inversely proportional to 1 by R square, where E is the electric field and R is the distance between the two charges. So R is the distance between the two charges. And if I move this unit positive charge somewhere away from the source charge, then what happens? The force experienced by this test charge decreases. So E is inversely proportional to square of the distance between them. Okay. Now this electric field only depends on our source charge. Whatever be the test charge, it don't depend on our test charge, because this electric field is produced by our source charge, so it only depends on our source charge. So we could write another expression that E is directly proportional to our source charge Q. So E is directly proportional to Q. Now let's combine this all and we can derive the electric field intensity produced by charge Q, that is our source charge at point R, is given by E of R. E is electric field as a vector quantity, and this R gives the electric field at a distance of R. E of R is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R square R cap, where R cap gives the direction of electric field. So now we have got the equation to find electric field intensity at a point due to our source charge Q. Now let's look into the mathematical relation between electric field and force. So I have already told you that concept of electric field was brought to explain the electrostatic between two charges if they are kept at a distance of r, right? So according to Coulomb's law, we could tell that Fr is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R square, that is Q1 Q2 by R square. Our Q1 here is our capital Q, which is our source charge, and Q is our test charge, by R square. R cap gives the direction of the force. So we could take this small q out. So what will be the equation? Q is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q by R square R cap. So this is our electric field, right? This is the expression for electric field. So we can write that F of R is equal to Q into E of R. That is equal to electric field E of R is equal to force by our test charge F by Q. So electric field is the force per unit charge, and SI unit of electric field is Newton by Coulomb. From this expression we can derive the SI unit as Newton per Coulomb. So now let's look into electric field lines, lines of force. So you could see a unit positive charge and unit negative charge, and many lines are drawn around it. So what is these lines? So these lines are called electric field lines. So electric field lines is an imaginary line drawn in order to specify the direction of electric field. So these electric field lines are drawn in order to specify the direction of electric field. So I have told you already that electric field is a vector quantity. It has both direction and magnitude. So to denote the direction of electric field, in which direction it is going, we uses electric field lines. But you can't see electric field lines coming out of the electric charges when you keep it in a space. Okay. So it is an imaginary line drawn in order to specify the direction of electric field. A positive charge, the electric field will be directing radially outward from the charge. So in this figure you can see that this is a unit positive charge, and electric field lines are directing outward. So the arrows are outward. Okay. For negatively charged, electric field will be directing radially inward to the charge. So negative means inward. That means the arrows will be inward. For positive, it will be outward. So I'll give you an example. You have seen many positive minded people, right? So what are they doing? They are giving positive energy to others also. Always the positive charge field will be in the direction of outward they are giving. Whereas in negative minded people, what will the negative minded people will do? They will try to take away the positive energy of the other people, right? So the arrows will be inward. They are taking away the positive energy of the other people into them. Yeah. So the arrows are inward. So you could remember it in any example. I just given you an example, just like the persons we met every day. But you could use another examples as your own. Just give you an example to remember where the arrows will be going. For positive, it will be to the outward, and for negative charge, the field lines will be directing inwards. So that's it. Okay. The magnitude of the field is represented by the density of field lines. So the next important point is that field lines also gives the magnitude of electric field. So how can we find the magnitude of electric field with the help of field lines? Near to the charge, that means near to the charge means at this point, right? What you can see is that the density of field line is more, right? If the density of field line is more, electric charge at these points are more. For example, if I draw a small circle here, okay. So how much field lines are included in this circle? 1, 2, 3. 3 field lines are included in this circle. With this same size, if I draw a circle here, how much field lines are included in this circle? Only 1. So density of field lines is more at this point near to the positive charge. That means electric field, magnitude of the field, electric field is more at this point rather than away from the charge. So I hope you understood. The magnitude of the field is represented by the density of field lines. So near to the charge, field lines are more dense, that is electric field is strong near to the charge, and away from the charge, density of the field lines get weaker, so electric field also decreases when it moves away from the charge. Field lines at different points indicates the relative strength of electric field at those points. So different points, at different points the electric field lines represent the strength of electric field. At this point, electric field will be really strong. At this point, electric field will be less compared to this point. So electric field line at different points indicates the relative strength of electric field at those points. Now let's look into the some of the properties of electric field lines. Okay, field lines start from positive charge and end in negative charges. If there is a single charge, they may start to end to at infinity. So field lines, if there are there is a positive charge and negative charge, it says that field lines always starts from the positive charge. As I have told, the field lines of the positive charge always points outward. So you could see in this picture, the field lines are starting from positive charge. That means the arrows are going like this and this way and then to this way, and when the negative charge, it will be going inward, radially inward. So inward. So it starts from the positive charge and goes to the negative charge. Likewise here also positive charge, from positive charge field line started, arrow to the negative charge and ends in the negative charge. And if there is a single charge, they may start or end at infinity. In a charge free region, electric field lines can be taken to be continuous curve without any break. So if there is a charge free region, electric field lines can be taken as continuous curve without any break. The field lines can never cross each other. That means there will be no interception between field lines. That means there will be no any like this crosses between field lines. You could see in this picture, in this picture there is no crossing between field lines. Even at this point where the field lines are so minute, you could see that there is no any crossing, intersection between the field lines. That is, two field lines can never cross each other. That is an important property of electric field lines. Electrostatic field lines do not form any closed loop. It just starts from one point and ends in the other point. It don't forms a closed loop. Now you could see another example for electric field lines. But if here we have a positive charge and another positive charge. Okay, so field lines are going outward, but at this point you could see that there is a slight repulsion between these field lines because like charges always repel. So there is a repulsion, and the figure of the electric field lines when there are both like charges is represented like this. Even here there is no interception. See, even here the field lines never crosses with each other. They are far apart with each other. So that is a really important property of electric field lines. Okay. Now let's look into uniform and non-uniform electric fields. So there are two types of electric fields, uniform and non-uniform electric fields. So what are they? Let's look. A uniform electric field is a field in which the value of field strength remains the same at all points. So this figure gives an example for uniform electric field. I have drawn many points A, B, C, but you could see that in all 3 points, the strength of electric field remains the same. If you take here, any point, the strength remains the same. And if I draw a circle, how much field lines it includes? 3. And the same circle if I draw here also, it will include 3 field lines. So the strength of electric field remains constant throughout. It don't change. So that is called uniform electric field. In uniform electric field, as the field strength does not change, field lines tends to be parallel and equidistant to each other. So in an uniform electric field lines are always parallel and they are equidistant. The distance between each field lines are equal. This is equal to this and this is equal to this. Electric field lines are equally spaced. As the above point, electric field lines are equally spaced. Now let's look into non-uniform electric field. When magnitude and direction of electric field intensity are not same at all points, that is called non-uniform electric field. So you could see here that at different point we have different electric field intensity, right? A, B, C all don't have the same electric field intensity. For example, if I draw a circle here, it only consists of one electric field. And if I draw the same circle here, what happens? It at least consists of 2 electric field, right? So the electric field at the point A, B, C is much less than the electric field strength compared to the point E. So these are called non-uniform electric field lines. Electric field lines are not equally spaced, and you could see that these field lines are not equally spaced. The space between here is much different than the space between here. So these types of electric fields are known as non-uniform electric field. Electric field due to the system of charges. So let's consider this diagram first. So there are many charges Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4, and these Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 are our source charges, and we need to find the total electric field due to Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 at the point P. So this is our point P, and the distance between these charges are Q1 and this point R1P, Q2 and this point R2P, Q3 to the P is R3P, and from charge Q4 to point P is R4P. And electric field at this point due to Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4 are E1, E2, E3, E4, and the directions are given here. So this is our diagram, and we should find the electric field at this point P due to our source charges Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. So electric field E1 at P due to Q1 at R1P is given by, we can write the equation for electric field. E1 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1, here our source charge is Q1, by R1P square. Distance between them is R1P, so R1P square and R1P cap, and this gives the direction of electric field at this point P, and R1P is the unit vector. Now electric field E2 at point P due to Q2 at R2P is given by E2 is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q2 by R2P square, R2P cap, and this gives the unit vector. Likewise, we can write the electric field due to Q3 and Q4 at P. And if there are n number of charges, by the principle of superposition, we can write the total electric field intensity on the test charge. That means at the point P is equal to E of R is equal to E1R plus E2R plus, likewise it goes and up to ENR. So we can write the equation 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q1 by r1 p square r1 p cap plus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 r2 q2 by r2 p square r2 p cap. Likewise 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 qn by rn p square, sorry it's rn p cap, okay, it's rn p cap, rn p cap. So we can write this equation in the form of summation. Electric field E of R is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 summation I equal to 1 to n qi by rip square rip cap. So this is the equation to find electric field at a point due to n number of charges. And this equation we get it through applying principle of superposition. Now let's try to do a problem, and this problem is really good problem. So let's try to do it, okay. Find the electric field at a distance z above the midpoint between two equal charges q, a distance d apart. And the figure is given like this. There are two charges q, q. So two charges q is there, and it tells that these both charges are at a distance d apart. So total charge here it is distance d apart, and we need to find the electric field at a distance z above the midpoint between two equal charges. So here we draw a line above the midpoint. So since it is a midpoint, we can divide this as d by 2 and d by 2, and the point is z and it is and the point is p and it is z distance apart from this midpoint, okay. Now we should find the electric field at this point P due to these charges Q and also this charge Q. So let's try to do it, okay. So as a solution I have drawn this picture and I'll explain this to you. As in the last picture we have two charges and they are d distance apart. Since there is a midpoint here, I have divided that d into d by 2 and d by 2, and we need to find electric field at a point P at z apart, and I have drawn a line from this Q to this point P and from this charge Q to this point P, indicating the electric field, and the electric field direction at this point P due to this charge Q is E2, and electric field at this point P due to this charge Q is E1, okay. And this line makes a angle theta with our midline, okay. And the distance between this charge and point P is considered as R. Okay, now let's try to solve this, okay. Since this is an angle theta, this angle becomes theta plus this angle also becomes theta, okay. And since this is a vector, we can take the component of this vector, right? So when we take the components, I think you have already studied how to take components of a vector in last year. So let's try to take it. When we take the components, we will get this as E2 sine theta and this part as E2 cos theta. And when we take the components of this electric field E1, we get this part as E1 sine theta and this part as E1 cos theta. I will tell you a trick. When we take components, you should remember that the side which is near to this theta becomes cos theta, and which is far away from this angle theta, it becomes sin theta. This is just a simple trick to remember where the cos theta will come and where the sin theta will come when taking a components of the vector. Now we got the components, and you could see that this E2 sin theta and E1 sin theta is in opposite direction, and they have equal value because this charge Q and Q are equal. They have the equal value, so this E2 sin theta and E1 sin theta can be cancelled. Now only the remains is our E2 cos theta and E1 cos theta, right? So when we take the resultant electric field, E is equal to, we can write it as E is equal to E1 cos theta plus E2 cos theta, right? Now giving the value for E1 and E2, what will we get? So we will get E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square cos theta plus 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square cos theta. Since the both charges are equal, so we can write this is equal to, so by adding this we will get 1 by 2 into 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square cos theta, right? Now let's look into this figure. We can write r is equal to, by hypotenuse theorem, we can write r is equal to hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus altitude square. So we can write r. What is will be the r? R is equal to root of z square plus d by 2 all square, right? And cos theta. From this figure we will get cos theta. So cos theta is equal to adjacent side by hypotenuse. So adjacent side is equal to z and hypotenuse is r. So we can write cos theta is equal to, so cos theta is equal to z by r, and instead of r we can write this equation. So we will get z by root of z square plus d by 2 all square. So let's apply these two equations in this formula. So we will get the final answer as E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. So the final answer is E is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 2qz by z square plus d by 2 all square all raised to 3 by 2. This is the electric field at point P due to the charges Q, due to the two charges Q. So this is our final answer. I think this problem was a easy question, right? Just we found the components. Only the difficult part I think is to find these components. After that you can just substitute all the values in the equation and you will get the final answer. This is a really important question, and try it out yourself and tell me how you face this question in the comment box. So that's all for today. If you like this video, press on the like button and share it with your friends so that I can help them also. And don't forget to check out the Telegram group and subscribe to this channel and press on the bell icon so you could get notification whenever I upload a new video. So thank you for watching the video. See you in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay happy. Bye.